What's going on, you all? Today we're talking about if PSVR 2 is the actual superior VR headset as of today. This is not to start any VR wars, no headset wars or anything. I'm a Quest person, right? I've been covering Quest for years, but this has been going a lot on Twitter, and then also just like, I don't know, man, I feel like there has been some kind of like how console wars is right now. It's just like a mini ass version of a niche virtual reality wars, which is PSVR 2 versus like Quest, or PSVR 2 versus PCVR, or PSVR 2 versus all the rest. In my opinion, is PSVR 2 the superior headset? Now, there's a lot of like gray area to actually define this. There's a lot of ways to come at this, you know, because you can look at PSVR 2 in its current standing. I feel definitely is a superior headset just because they understand the role of virtual reality for right now. Now, Quest hasn't really peaked, even though they're on their third reiteration of a Quest 3. PCVR obviously is limitless, but for some reason still seems limited. I don't know what PCVR is really doing right now. PCVR will always be like the best when it comes down to graphic performance. Of course, you're connected to a PC, right? That's just the same thing versus console versus PC. PC is always a limitless aspect, but for some reason, why does VR still somewhat feel limited in PCVR? Sometimes PCVR pushes too much of like mods to try to promote themselves a lot more, or different types of ports, or AAA like flat screen gaming into a VR aspect, which is a mod, right? And I just don't think that that's enough to help mainstream that facet of PCVR. But PCVR is always going to be the best when it comes down to like just pure being the best, limitless. But PSVR 2 being the superior headset in terms of the idea of virtual reality, I don't know how weird that might sound to somebody, but the idea of virtual reality, I feel they are capitalizing the right way, right? And this conversation might trigger a lot of people, and so I want to hear definitely your insights. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and all that, in case like I know people are gonna start probably some shit on here, but they're doing it right. PSVR 2 is doing it the right way for how VR is in its current standing. And I want to go back to the example of Resident Evil 4, the remake, right, for PSVR 2. OG on Quest is amazing, but again, limited due to its graphics, but it's still a damn fun game. It is fun, right? And PSVR 2 knows its place in virtual reality and just understands virtual reality as a whole right now. Virtual reality is not really a main stage platform right now that Quest is on a mission to make it be. Now, Quest is doing a great job, of course, it's standalone, and how they're pushing the standard limits to a standalone, which is Asgard's Wrath 2. If you haven't checked that out, check out our video on that too. But it still doesn't really, it's not persuading people, you know. We had Assassin's Creed, we had Asgard's Wrath 2 already, we had OG Resident Evil 4. There is rumors about the Grand Theft Auto coming around. I mean, it was confirmed by Mark Zuckerberg, but we don't know when that comes out, Grand Theft Auto on Quest. Those are by far the most AAA experiences, I guess, right now for a Quest standalone. And maybe Walking Dead, if you want to count that also. And so still hasn't persuaded the audience to make it general mainstream. It's been the most affordable, still hasn't really been mainstream yet. So we don't know what's really missing aside from like the friction of having to put on a headset, or just the graphic limitations that a Quest has, like graphics wise. We don't know, right? There's no real definitive answer for why like Quest has not made virtual reality a mainstream platform. Now, it's done a lot better. We've covered since the first Quest till now, and damn, there's a huge improvement for Quest. But for some reason, it's not as mainstream, or at least commercialized as what I thought it would be, at least until this moment. Which is why I go back to the PSVR 2, because when I was doing the Resident Evil 4 remake and all that stuff, when I did those videos, playing the game, understanding the reference to what PSVR 2 is doing to virtual reality in general and their idea of virtual reality, they're making games an extension of virtual reality. So I feel when it comes to pure gaming, PSVR 2 is gonna be the superior headset due to them understanding that they could be AAA gaming and make it into a virtual reality experience. It would be cool if they had like Spider-Man and all that also in virtual reality. That'd be next level. But whatever they tend to do, if they can capitalize, I feel they can be the superior VR headset. Just due to that alone, when it comes to gaming, AAA gaming, and being able to get into virtual reality at the fastest rate possible without having to be illegitimate or having to make a mod or having to go through all these different obstacles just to get it into somewhat of a legitimate VR experience. So PSVR 2 can do that. Again, it is connected to a PS5, of course. That's why it can be better with graphics, performance, and just understanding. But I feel that PSVR 2 does that because they understand like the profitability in that versus what Quest is doing. Because there is rumors that Quest is not really getting too much profit when they do these standalone things to build it, to be able to sell it as a standalone, as a quote unquote affordable standalone, which is not too much affordable anymore. So this is where it kind of gets a little hazy now with Quest, right? Quest is not as affordable. It is the most affordable on the market right now still, but it's not as affordable as it once was. Quest 2, yeah, you can get a Quest 2. Quest 3, no, because a lot of people will come with the Quest 3 argument talking about mixed reality and stuff like that, but Quest 2 doesn't have all that stuff, at least to that extent, to the extent we're looking forward to the Asgard's Wrath update aspect and all of that. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So it's not exactly too affordable, right? You get a stock strap that comes with a Quest. You don't get that much battery life. So those are things that you have to buy to make your experience a little bit better. Though that comes out along with insurance and stuff. You're looking at like maybe a $700, $800 route. Depending on what you need to buy after that, that kind of makes it into almost a PSVR 2 roll almost for a couple extra hundred, for maybe 100 or 200. Or you're looking at maybe a budget PC with like a used Quest 2 maybe at some point. You're right around the corner to these, right? This is not like way off the marks right now. This is not a off the rail type take right now. This is not a hot take too much. But again, that's where it kind of makes it like, okay, well, Quest 3 right now is how much more in depth can they go? Because right now they're promoting themselves always as standalone first. But it seems like there's a lot more people going back to Quest connecting to PC and using that as a crutch. So you can use mods, so you can use all this other stuff. But I'm just more kind of just foreshadowing Quest as a standalone and PC VR in its own identity. Now, Quest 3 can become a PC VR, which is great, right? But if you're just looking at Quest the way it's actually marketed to the people as a standalone. Now, Quest does have some hazy moments and gimmicky moments though when they promote. Assassin's Creed was a terrible trailer. It was all rendered. It wasn't even like actual gameplay till later, until they catch a lot of heat for that. Then the second time around, Asgard's Wrath 2 was promoted as a Quest 3 iteration. And then they gave us a Quest 2 aspect, took a bunch of shit, bunch of heat, and then they finally made a Quest 3 version of it. And they made that turnaround time pretty quick, which is good. Which means that there is capabilities of how fast we can get these things happening, AAA wise, at least for a Quest. But still has not really persuaded the general audience to get into virtual reality. Again, I don't know the exact there's no definitive answer as to why VR is. I think in my opinion, VR should be a lot further than what it is. It doesn't have to be like crazy, like, oh, I'm leaving my Xbox right now to just play VR 24 hours. Like, no, I just think it still feels a little too niche right now, to where we help on this channel trying to make it a little bit more commercialized. So therefore, PSVR 2, that kind of leaves us there with like, they understand that VR is just an extended reality of AAA or just flat screen gaming in general. VR being treated as more as an extension gameplay to enhance your gameplay immersion and not really being the main stage of virtual reality is what PSVR 2 is doubling down on. And I feel like that's been working a lot more on their end and their spectrum and their potential to know that they can bring these AAA games, especially exclusives. There might be some great exclusives there, to make it into a virtual reality experience. But when you get tired of virtual reality, you can just go simply right back to your flat screen on that. And it's a seamless transition of that versus PC VR. PC VR is not a seamless transition. I don't care who argues with me on that. I have both. I have all three. I have PSVR and then the Quest and then the PC aspect. It's all of these are all different transitions that are a little bit harder, aside from the Quest being the easiest one, where it's like you just literally put on the headset. But again, not as mainstream, because again, a lot of people who usually vouch for Quest usually go back to the component of it being PC VR also. But if you're doing that, mostly every headset somewhat is just PC VR in totality. So for me right now, I feel I wouldn't say PSVR 2 is a superior headset, but it's more of a headset that you can take as they understand the current standing of virtual reality and they're doubling down on that. while Quest is more of like a main stage VR headset to get people in, but the longevity of it just hasn't been working right now. Like me, I don't jump into my Quest 3 as much anymore right now, just because it's kind of a snooze fest right now. Aside from Asgard's Wrath 2 and then like maybe Ghost of Tabor really carrying Quest right now, it really is a snooze fest for now, but we'll see how it comes apart later. PC VR will always be great in its own range, but for me, I think they're also underperforming being PC VR, which should be the highest level of gameplay, application, experiences, everything when it comes down to all of that with full body tracking, everything. I feel like it's still very much limiting, at least as an experience, but it should be way more limitless than what it is right now. But again, it could be that maybe I'm impatient. Maybe I think it's too soon. We don't know. But for now, I feel, in my opinion, PSVR 2, I wouldn't say is just the most superior, but they just understand VR in its current standing. And they're just really doubling, tripling down on that. And they're doing a great job at it right now. It's not perfect. None of these headsets are perfect. But I think that's just my opinion. Y'all gotta let me know what's up though, man. As I wrap up this video, I really wanted to say this because I do see this argument a lot online, and I also just get these questions in my live streams too, so it's pretty cool to talk about this. Y'all let me know what's up, man. Leave your comments with context and backed evidence. I don't want to just hear some bullshit hatred comments, man. Thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing, thank you for supporting the channel, man. Peace.